Are you somebody who has been given a reasonable adjustment when you've sat exams in the past? Or perhaps you may be interested in applying for a reasonable adjustment when it comes to your SQE assessments. If so, you're in the right place because we're going to be discussing the whole range of reasonable adjustments that are awarded by the SRA for SQE exams. Stay tuned, but only after the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us at SQE TV?
What reasonable adjustments might you be seeking for an SQE assessment? Well, the most common one, of course, is additional assessment time. This will depend on the nature and extent of your medical condition or disability, and it will also be partly determined by the contents of the report in support of your application. Make sure, though, if you're getting this report drafted or updated or reviewed, that you consider each of the SQE assessments differently, particularly the oral assessments, which may require a different amount of additional time compared to the written assessments. The type of room you're in might need addressing in your reasonable adjustments package. For example, a lower occupancy room might be appropriate for somebody who suffers from clinical anxiety in relation to sitting assessments in a large assessment hall or large assessment venue. Obviously, it's got to be something that's clinically diagnosed rather than just general exam nerves. Sometimes some students require not just a low occupancy room but a sole occupancy room given the nature of their physical or mental health condition. Again, that will be largely dependent on what the recommendation is and the contents of your medical report in support of your reasonable adjustments application. The next topic I'm going to discuss in the context of SQE reasonable adjustments is the use of earplugs while sitting SQE 1 exams. Many of us will have sat exams in the past and used earplugs to shield out external noise in order to focus on the exam and what's in front of you. And I'm pleased to say that the SRA and CAPLAN recognise this and make available at the venue foam earplugs for any candidate that wishes to use them. You can't take in your own foam earplugs, but you can use the ones that are supplied at the venue. However, if those aren't suitable for your particular health condition or other condition, then what you will need to do is to make an application for a reasonable adjustments for your own bespoke earplugs to be used at the venue. For obvious reasons, the specification of the earplug will need to be approved so that the SRA and CAPLAN are satisfied that it's not some sort of communication device for obvious reasons. The exception, of course, is that candidates will be able to bring in hearing aids if they are hearing impaired. The next reasonable adjustment I'm going to talk about relates to the sitting of the SQE1 assessment, and in particular splitting an FLK day. What do we mean by this? Well, SQE1 is divided into two papers, FLK1 and FLK2. And most candidates will sit the first part of FLK1 in the morning for 2 hours 33 minutes and the second part of FLK2 in the afternoon, also for 2 hours 33 minutes. So that's a total of 5 hours and 6 minutes in total that FLK1 lasts, and then they do the same roughly a week later for FLK2. Now, the SRA and CAPLAN recognise that that's quite a large exam burden for candidates who don't have any disability or condition. So when it comes to candidates with reasonable adjustments, they do permit, in some instances, candidates to sit each part of FLK1 on separate days, and the same for FLK2. It may well be the case that candidates who get, for example, double time in the exam because of their particular health condition or particular disability, they may in certain circumstances be permitted to sit on separate days. It's unclear from the SRA's website how far this concession extends because they have only mentioned this ability to sit each part of an FLK exam on separate days in relation to blind and visually impaired students. But I'd be very surprised indeed if for some candidates where, for example, they're awarded double time, that they weren't allowed to sit their FLK exam on two separate days.
SQE TV.
Just before we continue with the video, can I ask a small favour, please? And that is to tick the like button there and also tap the notification bell. If you do that, you find out as soon as our new videos drop. And by leaving a comment in the comment section, it will also alert the algorithm that this particular content is popular with people who are undertaking or considering undertaking an SQE journey. And that's what we're trying to do.
SQE TV.
Now, there's a whole range of assistance for candidates who are blind and partially sighted. We've already mentioned one of them, but typically candidates who are blind or partially sighted might be given access to the exam materials in Braille. They might be given paper copies of the assessment with a particular larger size of font or particular type of font to assist in reading, and extra line spacing, that sort of thing. So the exam materials can be bespoke to the particular needs of blind and partially sighted candidates for obvious reasons. And similarly, when it comes to hearing impaired and deaf candidates, similar adjustments can be made for them, such as having hearing loops and having a Palin typist if you are in the deaf or hearing impaired community. The last reasonable adjustment I want to talk about is in relation to having access to medication, water and snacks in the assessment room itself when sitting the SQE, because the general default position is that you can't have access to water, medication or snacks in the assessment room. You can't bring them in. You have to leave them in the holding room where you've left your bag before the assessment, and that may well be a few minutes walk away. So if there's a particular need that you have to have it within the room, whether it's water, snacks or medication, you need to make a reasonable adjustment application. Of course, that will be viewed sympathetically for candidates with mobility issues and various other conditions that require the water, snacks or medication to be within the assessment room. But if you don't make the application for the reasonable adjustment on that basis that is supported by suitable evidence, then I'm afraid you're going to be in the same position as everyone else. Now, it's impossible in a video of this length for me to go through every single type of reasonable adjustment that you could be granted in respect of an SQE reasonable adjustment application. Indeed, what I recommend you do is to go on the SRA's website and look at the various lists of conditions and disabilities and the types of reasonable adjustment that the SRA and Kaplan have awarded in the past. It's a non-exhaustive list, so don't think that just because it's not on the list you won't get it. But obviously it's indicative of the fact that candidates, if they have been awarded that type of adjustment for a condition similar to yours, there's a reasonable prospect, subject to the evidence in support being adequate, in you getting the same. One thing I do want to emphasise though is just because your report in support of your application may say that you do require a particular type of reasonable adjustment, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get it. After all, you could get two candidates with an identical condition or disability where their experts recommend something slightly different. What the SRA has to do is to ensure parity in the adjustment that's given to two identical candidates in that situation. The last thing I want to say before we leave this topic is that it's essential really when you're briefing your expert to maybe update your report, we do recommend they do this, that's to consider each SQE assessment separately, because there are different needs that different candidates with different disabilities and conditions will require, and you almost need to look at each of the assessments on an assessment by assessment basis, particularly for SQE2, because the different oral skills and different written skills will require different adjustments depending on what your particular needs are.
SQE TV.
So quite a lot we've unpacked there in relation to applications for reasonable adjustments. I hope you found that useful, and do check out the short videos we've done on other aspects relating to reasonable adjustments, which also should be helpful to you if you're considering making a reasonable adjustments application in the future. Until next time, cue the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us?